Now, world leaders are calling Khashoggi's death shocking and unacceptable. Many are demanding more information. The UN Secretary General has condemned the killing, calling it deeply troubling. Antonio Guterres has stressed the need for a prompt, thorough and transparent investigation. German Chancellor Angela Merkel called Khashoggi's death an attack on press freedom.
Diese Freiheiten, die sind aber auf der Welt alles andere als selbstverständlich.
Those freedoms cannot be taken for granted all over the world. Take a look around. Talking about Saudi Arabia, those terrible events which still haven't been cleared up and where we of course demand an explanation.
And of course, other countries have also condemned Saudi Arabia's account of the death. Canada also calling for a thorough investigation and says that Saudi Arabia's explanation lacks consistency and credibility. The French Foreign Ministry says they condemn the murder in the strongest terms and that many questions about the death remain unanswered. Spain says it's dismayed by information from Saudi Arabia and has also offered its condolences to Khashoggi's family. Well, despite receiving a lot of international criticism, Saudi Arabia has also received some support. Egypt has praised the results of the investigation done by the kingdom. For more on this, we're joined by CGTN's Adel Al-Makhraoui. Adel, tell us a little bit more about the stance taken by Cairo over this matter and why.
From day one, Cairo's stance from the mysterious death and the alarming one of Khashoggi was quite supportive to the government of Saudi Arabia. When there were first few information and mainly speculations about what has happened, Cairo has asked all the international community not to rush into conclusions and wait until there are clear, transparent investigations that are taking place. At the same time, Cairo also said that it is alarmed by the incident itself, but it did not want anyone to go into the stage of pointing fingers without having any proof. And after the prosecutor general in Saudi Arabia started announcing some details and announcing that 18 officials, some of them senior aides to the crown prince and are quite close to the royal family, being included into these investigations, Cairo believes that praised this step, and it says it's an expected step from Saudi Arabia. Cairo believes that what is happening right now is a transparent approach from the King of Saudi Arabia, King Salman bin Abdulaziz, and it believes that until further investigations take place and until there is a complete questioning that takes place, Egypt strongly believes that there will be a clearer picture about what happened inside. So from Cairo's perspective, Saudi Arabia is an ally, and Cairo trusts that Saudi Arabia will do the necessary framework to make sure that the perpetrators are held responsible for what they've done.
And we've obviously seen very strong international reaction to Khashoggi's death. It's been covered across the world. You say, of course, that Saudi Arabia is an ally of Egypt. So how has Egypt then and other members of the Arab League perhaps covered the story of Jamal Khashoggi's death?
For Saudi Arabia's supporters and the countries that support Saudi Arabia, the media, the local media has not been talking intensively about the incident, until at least Saudi Arabia confessed and said that something went wrong and blamed specific names in the incident itself. So before that, many local media were very conservative in dealing with the issue. Some have not even mentioned it in their daily news coverage. But once Saudi Arabia started to talk, we've seen that the tone has changed now. There is a movement like the government to praise Saudi Arabia, praise the efforts of the investigations, and try to strengthen the idea that Saudi is leading a transparent investigation. So it is quite coherent to what the government position, the governments of these countries supporting Egypt. We've seen that in Egypt, we've seen that in the United Arab Emirates, in Bahrain, in Kuwait, and the countries that are strong and vocal supporters to the Saudi kingdom.
And Adel, of course, in recent days, we're starting to find out more about the life of Jamal Khashoggi. It appears now that he had ties to the Muslim Brotherhood. Does this at all come into play in Egypt's response to what's happened to the Saudi journalist?
Well, these whole attempts to dig behind the history of Gamal Khashoggi and do such links is more or less have been viewed by several analysts as an attempt to create less empathy toward Gamal Khashoggi himself. However, he has been a member of the Muslim Brotherhood way back in his life, and he has left the group for decades ago. And his work as a journalist has always led him into close work and close relations with opposition groups all over the country, all over the Arab region, namely also the Muslim Brotherhood, as they were the main opposition group to Mubarak's regime, and of course to what the transition that Egypt has led since 2013. But all in all, whether that could justify what a hideous incident that has happened, I think many people are quite segregating about that idea to try to differentiate between what has actually happened and what was the background he has. Gamal Khashoggi has been for many years a vocal rights scholar for freedoms in the Arab world. He has been quite a critique to many governments in the region, so he has been quite admired, and such correlation has not in Egypt also, namely, has not been taken into a serious accusations or to demean the character of Gamal Khashoggi. The government of Egypt, in an official statement where it supported Saudi Arabia's investigation, it has also sent its condolences and respect to the family of Gamal Khashoggi. So this is how valuable he is as a journalist to the Arab nation and the Egyptian government as well.
Indeed. Well, thank you so much, Adel Al-Makhrouri, joining us there live from Cairo.